Yo, what's going on, everybody? What's going on? How's it going? How's it going? Dude, let's go. We've got people watching the kick right now. We've got people watching the X live stream. We've got people watching the YouTube. That's awesome, man. I'm about it. That's so great, dude. I'm so glad y'all are here. I know this is super late. I had to get my workout done though. Had to had to attend to sort of the important things of just upkeeping, maintaining, that sort of thing. Here, let me try to get the lighting here a little better. Still trying to figure out my setup. My new monitor is kind of up high a little bit, so I have to kind of readjust things a little bit, but that's okay, man. It's okay. I probably need to get like a light over here or something to kind of spruce things up, but in due time, man. In due time. Do I have super chats disabled? No, if you're talking on YouTube, I don't have those enabled, but if you'd like to super chat, you don't have to. powerchat.live/pinesap3. I'll hear it on my end, and then it'll display on the screen and stuff like that. So only if you'd like to, though. That's not what it's about. What's up, bro? Mogger, good night, Sap. It's good to see y'all. How are y'all doing? Def see the ascension. Thank you, man. I really appreciate that. Yeah, it's been a long time in the making. It's been a long time in the making. It's been a lot of effort. Been a lot of hard work and stuff like that. And we're not done yet either. You know what I mean? Like I still am improving things every single day. I'm still trying to improve things like diet and exercise is pretty good. I just need to make sure to walk every day. That's the main thing. Not that I don't literally walk, I do, but like doing my more long walk with the weighted vest, because that was a huge part of me, like losing weight and stuff like that. So, that's part of the ascent, man. That's part of the ascent. But I pretty much work out every single day now. Actually, I before it was like doing on and off, and then I kind of went to like 3 days a week and stuff like that because my friends had this gym that we would go to that was like very far away. And I'm gonna be honest, like going to the gym is sometimes like a tough enough vision as it is. But like when it's super far away, when it's really, really far away, it just makes you less motivated to go. So I had to change gyms to somewhere that was a lot closer that way. So I actually made sure I was going and stuff like that. I could hold myself accountable. I had no excuse. It was right there. And my only regret is I should have done it sooner because it made me motivated to work out every single day. And now I'm addicted to it. Like if I don't work out, I feel kind of wrong almost. I feel as if like something's wrong at that point. Here, let me actually shift this over here. That way, so I'm more tempted to like look at you guys. There we go. Because I got it on my side screen over here. So I think I'm like looking at the chat over here. I'm not focusing on everyone's pretty face. But dude, we're so back, right? Pine sap's out touching grass. Yeah, that's the funny thing too. When people are like, when people still will be like to me, they're like, hey, pine fat, or they're like, you don't even touch grass. I'm like, what are you talking about, bro? Like, that's not even me. That wasn't really ever me. You know what I mean? But like, especially not now. I mean, if anything, like I feel kind of bad because I do want to stream more and do more art. I don't like saying content. That's kind of a little gay. Like that's what Twitch streamers do. We're making art over here. We're trying to strive to make art. I want to make more art, but it's just like I've got friends and they're like, dude, we should, go hang out and we should do this. We should go on this adventure and stuff like that. I'm like, damn it, dude. It's a good problem to have, but it's just like, it's frustrating when, you want to do this and that. And it just doesn't feel like there's enough time for everything sometimes, but that's okay. We're getting into a place where it's going to be, honestly, it's just a time management thing. I'll be transparent with you guys. I still struggle to like sleep on time. Like I go to bed at like 2 a.m. I'm not even gonna lie. I go to bed at 2 a.m. So some days I wake up like super late and and just the rest of the day gets away from me, and I need to be a little better at managing my time. But once we got that locked in, everything else, man, everything else. So it's good to see everybody though. I'm really happy to be here and stuff like that. Hello, brothers. Happy Friday. How are we doing, dude? We're doing good, man. We're doing good. Cake sap. Let's just say some things don't change. Don't worry. You know, some people were worried about that the weight loss would change that. Let's just say some things don't change, okay? You know, I can't show you right now. I am wearing PJ shorts and no underwear, so that's not going to be an option. It's not going to be an option, but you know, let's just say, take my word for it. Some things don't change ever. But yeah, man, I've had a really, I've been really blessed, honestly. Like that's not like to brag or anything. Like all of it's been a gift from God. I've been really blessed, and it was very difficult to get to where I'm at. I'm not gonna lie. Like there were some days where like you wake up and you just feel like the whole world's against you. You know, you feel like everything's against you, life's against you, everything's working against you. And I mean, really the only thing that I sap meat, but really the only thing that kept me in check was Lantern donated $20. Thank you, man. Goat. Hey, dude, I'm looking at the goat right now, bro. Thank you so much. That means a lot to me. I think it's one of those things where only your faith in God can get you through everything. It's not like a mindset thing. It's not reading self-improvement books. I think most self-improvement books are a waste of time. It's a way to kind of convince yourself that you're doing something, but you're not actually doing something. Sam Hyde actually had a really good segment on this. He talked one time about how when people buy all these time management programs, and sometimes things like Obsidian, not that Obsidian's bad, Obsidian's really good, but you know, they've got the Obsidian subscription, and they've got this time management life organizer app, and they're reading Atomic Habits, and they're doing all this stuff. It's the way of convincing yourself that you're doing something, but you're not actually changing anything about your life. You're kind of still stuck in the same place. You're still stuck in the same place that you were, but you're just spinning your wheels, convincing yourself that you're actually doing something. And here's the thing. It's not a one-size-fits-all approach. Maybe Atomic Habits helps some people, and it's a book that helps them organize their time, be more productive, lock in, that sort of thing. Not dissing on it. The one thing I've learned is that everyone's got their... the only consistent thing is you have to have faith in God. If you don't have faith in God, all the self-improvement goes out the window. I mean, I remember there's been some people in my life that have said, oh, I didn't need God to start going to the gym or what have you. And while maybe that individual thing is true, right? Like they just started going to the gym because they started going to the gym. They almost become slaves to other things in their lives, right? They become slaves to other things in their lives. They become sort of harassed or harangued by other problems as a result, whether that's pride, whether that's, you know, their new kind of elevated life presents its own temptations or what have you. And at the end of the day, no matter what place you're in, whether good or bad, you need that faith in God. That's the only thing that will get you through. That's the only consistent theme in all of our journeys that we all need. And within that, some people might prefer Atomic Habits. Some people it's as simple as I really, really liked just listening to videos at the gym, right? And I was doing that already. So I was like, why not just work out while I do that, right? Why not just listen to a Sam Hyde life advice video or a funny lore video or something? I remember David Achu video or what have you while I'm just working out, and it really improved my life in that way. That's what worked for me. But again, it's not a one size fits all kind of thing. So whatever gets you out the door, allows you to work out, improve yourself, improve your stature in life or what have you. So long as you have faith in God, that's all that matters, right? It's not a one size fits all thing. The other thing that doesn't work too, Pius the 12th's lawyer donated $3. Sap, I feel the church's take on the death penalty is arguably the most scandalous thing in the last 50 years. Got anything beyond the boilerplate responses? God bless King, lean is law. Well, thank you, man. I mean, basically, I'll give a just quick shooting from the hip thing. It's a prudential decision, right? It's not something where the death penalty is condemned in of itself, because you can't condemn something in of itself that the church has permitted, right? So recent popes saying that it's better to not use the death penalty as a prudential ruling, and you can disagree with that prudential ruling per donum veritatis. What I use to back that up is Cardinal Ratzinger or Pope Benedict XVI's 2004 address on how not all life issues are the same in regards to our ascent. So Catholics can reasonably disagree on the death penalty and still be within the orthodoxy of the church. But if you think abortion or eugenics or anything that's actually condemned and harmful to the inherent dignity of the human person, if you dissent on that, then you're not Catholic anymore. And so I think that distinction is very important to make. I think that's a distinction that the church upholds, of course. And so that prudential ruling is the way to think about the death penalty ruling. But good question, man. Thank you for the 3. I really appreciate it. Let's see here. Saw a video about right-wing mass shooters in this MFer put Nick right into the thumbnail front and center. Of course they fucking did, man. Looking great, Chad Sapcadillo. Nick sent $10. Thank you, man. I really appreciate it. Of course they fucking did. You know, Nick condemns violence, right? Nick condemns terrorism. All of us condemn terrorism, right? We hate terrorism. I think harming human life is disgusting, but it doesn't stop these people from engaging dishonestly and trying to slander his name by saying, oh, well, his ideology leads to weird incel, disaffected men who are going to go commit mass shootings. And it's just a lie. When people can't attack you on the truth that they say, they have to distort your message in order to lie about you and defame your name. And that's something that comes up consistently, where if nobody can present an actual charge against your ideas, then lying is the next best thing. So very disgusting. Very, very repulsive, honestly. Ed! Good evening, Pine Sap. Good to see you, Ed. How are you, bro? Apparently his rhetoric contributes to the atmosphere of violence. Yeah, but I'm sure saying that like men are women and Roman America donate $20. Pine Sap, how are you doing? The Andrew Wilson, Candace Owens debate was almost as one-sided as the Franco-Prussian War. Total humiliation. Also love how Andrew called out Candace for being a girl boss while simultaneously attacking Erica Kirk. Yeah, dude, and I'll fully confess, I've not watched the full debate. I haven't seen the full debate yet. I just saw some clips, and it seemed like from what I had seen, Andrew was cooking Candace. I heard from many people in other chats that he acted weird towards the end, and that kind of hurt his credibility, which really stinks, because, I mean, he had an easy layup, to be honest, just based on those clips. She doesn't know what the fuck she's talking about. I mean, she's just making shit up and trying to, like, you know, do anything for some content. And I think it becomes very apparent based on some of the responses that she gives to the text and evidence that he puts forth. Very embarrassing. Anyone who watches Candace Owens is a retard. I'm sorry. But if you're still watching Candace Owens, you're retarded. I don't think that you should have internet access. I don't think that you're intelligent enough to have the conversations that we're having. And if you're believing in astral projection and, you know, Charlie Kirk used Babylonian Sumerian technology to time travel, you're on a whole nother plane of being. We do not share the same movement, and we don't share the same idea. And I would appreciate if you stop calling yourself remotely right-wing at that point. You're just a conspiracy nut who probably works at Wingstop. Let's be real. Can we be very real for a moment? Oh, let's see. Ed said attending a friend's wedding in Gibraltar at the moment. Early flight out of London. Dude, that's so cool. Awesome. Yeah. Let me know how Gibraltar is. That sounds really awesome. There is a special class of people. There is a special class of people who you can tell do DoorDash deliveries, Uber Eats deliveries, work Uber, or work at Wingstop. And they love this content. They eat it up with a silver spoon. They love Candace, they love Sneeko, they love Jake Shields, and it's all these Edgar Muslim brown guys who think that they're breaking from the matrix by watching this content. They were the dudes who were very into Hustlers University back when Andrew Tate was running that, and some of his content surrounding like how to pick up women and stuff like that. It's the Edgars that you see working at Target. Like when you go to Target and you're a normal white person and you're like trying to buy, I don't know, milk or like a new shirt or something. It's the Edgars you see wearing the like luminescent jackets, stocking the shelves, they've got one AirPod in. They're very clearly not about their job, but they're not going to do anything to improve their lot in life. That's who likes that kind of content. It's Edgar slop. It's content designed for the lowest level of the population. It's sort of the bread and circuses that makes you feel like you're doing something, but you're not actually doing something, right? Dude, I saw this like stream and bro, like Candy, she was spitting, dog. She was like spitting and like Charlie was time traveling and you hear these people talk this way and you're saying, "Yeah, please bag my groceries." Yeah, that's nice. Please bag my groceries. Yeah, which aisle is the baby wipes in, right? Can you point me to where the Nintendo Switch is? I'd like to buy one, right? You're not interested in anything that these people have to say. It gives the illusion of them doing something with their lives while they're working for like $15 an hour at some like dead end job, right? And no shade if someone's working that job or whatever. We all got to make a living somehow, but I think it's the people. It's a difference between someone working that job, but it's like a temporary thing, and someone who is going to permanently be there. And the crowning achievement in their life is that they were made assistant manager of the Target. Let's be real. That will be the crowning achievement in their life. They were made assistant manager of the Wingstop, right? That will be the highest they will ever reach. You will see them working there 20 years later if it doesn't shut down, and they will have not moved from the dingy apartment that they were living in when they graduated high school. You probably went to high school with a lot of these guys. They're going to be still living in the same dank, dingy apartment, and nothing will have changed in their lives. And you'll have like a wife, kids, probably a business or a great job or what have you. It's very interesting to talk to those kinds of people. She's like Arby roast beef level. Yeah, that's true. She's definitely not the cream of the pie. I think we've determined that. She's definitely not the cream of the pie. Let's see here. Roman America donated $5. Also, did you see Beardson made Stu Peters rage quit his show twice this week? So hilarious. Dude, Beardson's the best, man. I saw that, and I didn't realize it was twice. I thought it was the same clip. You'll have to send me the follow-up, but yeah, I did see him make Stu Peters crash out, and that was hilarious. Stu Peters is such a fucking loser, honestly. He has threatened Nick's life before. He said, if I ever see Fuentes in real life, it's not going to be good. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. Okay, pal. We'll see how that goes. We might need to get a charge on him. I legitimately hope Stu Peters goes to jail. I have no, Pine Sap, you're punching right. Pine Sap, I don't care. I hope Stu Peters goes to jail. I hope they lock him away forever. I want these people to fail. I want these people to fail. I have nothing but contempt for these people. I really don't. At this point, I'm almost like George Bernanos, the guy who wrote like Diary of a Country Priest, phenomenal book. I haven't read it, but I've heard great things about it. Where I don't think that being right-wing means anything anymore. Everyone's right-wing, right? If you're right of John McCain, you're right-wing. Doesn't matter if you're literally a third worldist who's celebrating Hamas and ISIS like Doomernat or what have you, or you're Candace Owens and you're saying that Charlie Kirk was blown up by Sumerian technology in his neck. I don't even know what she says, right? I don't care. I have nothing but contempt for these people. I don't see them as being on the same side as me. I don't see us as allies. I don't think we're working towards the same thing, because at the end of the day, my mission is not politics. My mission is trying to get as many people to heaven as possible. You know whose mission is politics? That's Nick. Nick is the guy for politics. I have no shame when I say I outsource all my political thinking to Nick now. He is far more tapped into that world than I will ever be. He's far more tapped in than I will ever be. I don't care about politics, dude. Sorry, let me read some of these super chats real quick. I don't want to get too behind on them. Effing on delivery servers while forgetting the origin of Walmart. Thomist, shame on you. I'm sorry, Pius the 12th. I wasn't dogging on him. We love Christian Wagner. We love Walmart Thomist. Just Jimmy's, this lighting low-key giving supervillain vibes. Also, Happy World Lizard Day. Dude, Happy World Lizard Day, and I'm the villain. Dude, it's like that clip that I posted and I said Chad Champion on top of it. And my name's Kyle. I'm new to this school, and people around here call me the villain. People around here call me the villain, actually. And then it plays the Billy and Mandy, get out! You know, like, it's like, you're not the villain, bro, okay? I'm not the villain. I'm a wholesome Chungus. Well, I've got a villainous streak in me, but we'll talk about that in a moment. Prairie Pothole Groiper sent $5. Bro, Candace Owens said that Charlie Kirk was astral projecting. Okay, bro, I'm making sure you are delivering my Buffalo Wild Wings during the next severe thunderstorm. So true, dude. We're getting that BOGO combo. We're getting that 10 free, 10 for 10 combo from Buffalo Wild Wings. Deliver the fucking wings. I don't want to hear about your theory on Charlie Kirk. Just give me my fucking chicken, bro. Let's see here, but back to the chat. I will say this. These past few months, I've worked enough in kind of the political world or what have you to know these people are evil. I don't like a lot of these people. And I'm going to sound very judgmental, rude, harsh, whatever you want to say, right? I'm going to sound that way. These people are evil. They're self-interested. They don't care about anyone else but themselves. They don't care about what matters. They don't have any conviction. They don't have any vitality. They don't have any virtue. It's one of those things where all they care about is getting your vote and getting money. That's all they care about. They're in it to advance their own career. They're in it to advance their own pocketbook. They're in it so that they can maximize their social leverage and their bank account leverage as much as possible. As much as possible. And when you talk to these people, they talk through you. They talk through you. And Idea Zone said politicians are evil. No way. I'm not just talking you think I'm talking politicians. Listen, I had those guys figured out from a mile away. I'm not even talking them. I'm talking a lot of people that are even our age. All of the women are this way. I'm sorry, all of them are in politics. All of them are this way. That goes without saying, right? That goes without saying. And so are the men. Like when I was at AmFest, there were two types of people. There were the people that were there who really do give a shit and want to be involved in politics for the right reasons, and they want to give 110%, and they want to change this country for the better. You can tell that they're trying to do their best. They're trying to give everything they've got, right? It comes out in the way that they speak. They do really care about this. They really care about this mission. And then there is another class of person. There is a class of person who you can tell all they want is a paycheck. All they want to do is be butt buddies with some senator, and they want their own show, and they want a paycheck, and they want all the leverage that comes with working in politics. And these people are the most scum-sucking, evil, conniving pieces of shit in the entire world. I want nothing to do with any of them. I don't know if I'm burning bridges, but I don't think I am. I'm not like friends with any people like that. All my friends are real ones. But if this burns bridges, so fucking be it. I don't care. I hate these people. And I don't hate them in like the Christian sense, or in the anti-Christian sense of like not wanting them to inherit the kingdom of God. I love them in that way. I want them to repent and know God and love him and be with him in heaven forever. But I hate them in terms of not wanting to be around them. If you're not focused on God, if you're not focused on what matters, get the fuck away from me. I have no interest. I'm so done playing the nice game with people like that. You know, my father, he's worked in politics. I remember this was FR2. This was for I believe this was Fuentes Rally 2. FR2 in Florida. And I pull up to this Airbnb party, and there's a bunch of people that you can tell are there for the like Turning Point USA event, right? The Groypers are like real. They're just hanging out. They're having fun. You know, we're listening to like Kanye and all that. We're hanging out. And then these people, they come in suits, which is nice. You should wear a suit. You know, you shouldn't wear cargo shorts. I know. I've learned my lesson. I am wearing shorts right now, but you can't see them, right? But they're wearing suits, which is nice. They're well dressed. But you go up to talk to them, and look, I'm a real guy. I'm the real article. What you see is what you get, right? I'm the same off stream as I am on. That's what a lot of people have told me. They're like, you're the exact same. And I'm like, yes, this is how I am. You go up to these people and it's like, hey man, how's it going? It's nice to meet you. My name's Connor. Walter, it's a pleasure to meet you. And my father, he works in the New Hampshire legislature. And it's like, oh my goodness, get the fuck away from me. You're looking right through me. I can tell. This interaction is about what you can get from me, you know, how you can try to leverage our relationship for some favor later, or you're going to get money out of it, or I can help volunteer for your... I'm not interested in anything that you're selling. There are some people that it's like, yes, they're involved in politics. And look, dude, I don't care if you're getting paid a lot of money. I don't think you're a grifter because of that. If you're successful, that's wonderful, great. But if you're in it for the money, if you're in it for the paycheck, or not even the paycheck, just the power, the prestige, the social standing in the party, you are a morally bankrupt person. And so I don't have any desire to interact with these people. I'm generally a pretty nice guy. I try my best to be kind, congenial, hold myself in a way that is amiable to most people. And I still will with these people. I'm not going to go up to them and say, hey, fuck you, or what have you. That's abrasive, right? It's not salted with charity. But I have no interest in interacting with these people any longer. I want just real ones around me. I want people who are in it for Christ and in it for the right reason. And anyone who's not in it for the right reason, I have no interest in anything that you're selling. I have no interest in anything that you're offering. Because what you're offering is lies. You're just trying to get a bag and that's it. You don't care about this mission. You haven't sacrificed things like we have. You know, I have always been willing to die for what I say. And I think I'm more than proven that, considering everything that's happened in my life. I'm willing to sacrifice my life to bear witness to Christ. And honestly, I mean, I'm not trying to sound like a LARPer, but to protect Nick as well. You know, I'm not some bodyguard or what have you. I'm not some, Mossad, IDF, Krav Maga trained dude. You know, I'm not like, don't mess with the Zohan. But I am in this even if it costs me my life. These people are not. They don't care about that. They don't care about what matters. To them, it's just about money. It's just about power, and that's the end. And at that point, I don't think that these people should be considered our allies. They're at best useful idiots. Hey, if I gotta use you to affect our mission, I will be Machiavellian as hell. I will be Machiavelli through and through. I will use you to affect the mission that we're trying to go after. Yeah, oh yeah, dude, I'll definitely give you that position if you help me out. And then I'll I will swipe it from you at the last moment. That's how it goes. Sorry, kid, it's just business. Because you're not in this for the right reason. You need the inner circle. You need the people who you know are willing to ride or die with you. If someone's not willing to be in your inner circle, they're not someone you can trust. Use and leverage that relationship for the deeper mission we're all fighting for, but the moment you can dispense with it, wipe your hands clean. You don't want that person anywhere near you. They don't offer anything. You got to be, dude, Constantinius Magnus said in chat, you honestly got to be Dark Triad. This is where I can't speak. This is where cunning as the serpent comes in. Innocent as the dove. We're not doing something evil, but you got to be cunning as the serpent. If you're not doing that, you're not understanding how politics works. There is an element of Machiavellianism that you got to embrace. These people are evil and you got to be smarter than them. Oh, yes, I love listening to your story about your second boat. Oh, tell me more. Yes, I love you trying to wipe your money in everyone's face. Please tell me. It's not like I want to, stab my hand with a fucking fork to, drown out the incessant conversation that I don't give a shit about. No, please tell me more. Tell me more so I can get a donation out of you to put our guys up, to have our guys run for office and stuff like that. And you went to New Hampshire for vacation? Oh, great. Yes, tell me more about that. All I see with those people is a $sign so that our people can get in. That's how you got to be. All I see is a $sign. They are nothing but a stepping stone to get us to where we need to go. Pine Sap took $10 million from Doug Dimmadome and the Dimsdale Dimmadome Political Action Committee. Hey, that's true, but don't tell anyone my secret, okay? Let's see, we were all porch chuds and we were happy. Dude, that's real, man. That's so real. Fortunately, this type of magnanimity is looked down upon in contemporary Catholic circles. I'm sorry, a lot of Catholics don't know what's going on. Dude, I can't tell you how many Catholics are going to be psyoped come this election into thinking that Marco Rubio is totally based, and same with JD Vance. And they're completely based, faithful Catholics. They are going to eat that up with a spoon. All you got to do as a faithful Catholic is not buy the bullshit. You can't buy the bullshit from these people because these people will eat it up with a spoon. Literally, all these people are going to do is see one clip of JD Vance praying the rosary or he's kneeling at a church and they're going to be like, base JD Vance, he's actually super, trad and awesome and we should totally support him and throw all our weight behind literally the Antichrist Teal candidate. Justin said it in chat, never Vance, never Rubio. That's the dividing line. I don't care what kind of messaging they have. I don't care if they even try to spice in some elements of white identity or it's all a facade. It's all the Trump golden age facade going on. They did that with the whole beef tallow thing. Remember JD Vance on the lead up to the election? He was going on podcasts. He was like, yeah, I love to eat beef tallow. Yeah, that's not going to make you look any less ugly, okay, pal? Yeah, I love to eat beef tallow. That's why I look like a doll that your grandma collects. That's why I look like one of those rosy-cheeked dolls that your grandma collects. That's why I still look like Beryllium. That's actually why JD Vance be like, yeah, guys, I only eat beef tallow so I can have rosy cheeks just like Beryllium. Considering his relationship with Teal, it might not be one set of rosy cheeks if you catch my drift on that one. But anyhow, both him and Beryllium. Let's see here. I'm gonna cry because I want to send a super chat, can't figure it out. It's powerchat.live/pinesap3. It should be in the lower on your end left or right corner. But you don't have to, man. That's totally fine. Let's see here. Steak and Shake beef tallow fries, guys. Yeah, dude, that's so real. Well, and that's the thing. Like, I do like beef tallow fries; they're pretty good. But like, it's all this kind of signaling, right? It's the right-wing health advice. It's the vague appeals to white identity and anti-immigration sentiment or what have you, with none of the follow-through. People are so willing to eat up slop if it has the right packaging. People are so easy in convincing of propaganda if they are able to have the right messaging. If any of these people come out and they say, oh, we have to secure our nation for our people, right? Everyone is so willing to suddenly believe that JD Vance is on our side, and he's not. He's not in any way, shape, or form. He's made it clear. He supports abortion. He supports the normal gays and his trans friend. He's all about Israel. He visits them. He glazes them. He's in with Teal, dude. It's like, how fucking stupid can you be? And so, at the risk of honestly being kind of mean, I've about had it with some of these Catholics that are so willing to just eat up any slop. Oh, yes, sir. Can I have some more slop, please? Oh, guys, JD Vance was photographed at Mass. That means he's a super based and reverend and trad cath. No, he's not, dude. Okay, he doesn't believe the same faith that you and I believe in. And for all the, moral fags that want to come on and they're like, Pine Soup, who are you to excommunicate? Oh, I don't know, when someone's actions and words kind of speak for themselves. Yeah, it's not about me. It's about when you openly say things that are against the Catholic faith. And that's what both Marco Rubio and JD Vance have done. So spare me with the moral fagging. Spare me with well, they're not technically excommunicated, so you have no right to say that they're Catholic. They are as fake as the driven snow. Are you kidding me? And if you're too much of a fucking idiot to see that, I can't help you, okay? I really can't help you. I'm sorry that you've been mind raped and psyoped into believing that these people are actually on your side. They're not. Bazinga, dude, real. Sheldon, what have you done to our living room? I turned it into a hydraulic press. Bazinga, right? But no, man, it's as simple as that. It's like, these people are so willing to just believe lies if they're packaged the right way. And I want the truth. I'm tired of people just saying one-liners and podcast clips and then suddenly believing that they're on our side. They're not. That doesn't prove anything. Let's see here. What happened with Beryllium? I thought he was one of us, but then I heard he's not one of us. He's a fat fucking grifter. That's what he is. Beryllium is not one of us. If leftism was like the underground subculture, like it was in the 80s, he would be a leftist. Let's be fucking for real for a moment. That guy doesn't believe anything we believe. He is not focused on Christianity. He's not focused on protecting the white race. He's not focused on this country. He's just, again, vaguely anti-Israel, and that's it. And look, I'll give him some credit. He's a good editor. He splices his videos well. He knows upload times and all that kind of stuff. Not gonna knock him there. But if you're using that effort for a false message, I've got a real fucking bone to pick with you. And most of the time, I ignore that dumb fat retard. I don't give him the time of day at all. But when he was on the timeline the other day saying, defending the Crusades is unchristlike, actually. We just need to turn the other cheek, Chud. Stay in your fucking lane, dude. Go back to giving your like porn-addled fantasies about how you're gonna marry some non-white woman. And guys, it's based because it's bleaching. I definitely didn't get that from watching too much porn. Guys, I listen, the reason I want to marry Latina is not because I was going on Brazzers every single day. It's actually like a super complicated geopolitical strategy. Yeah, I'm sure. We've all seen the DMs with Empath Chan and that other girl, and having your bussy out on the timeline. But yeah, I'm sure it's just a hyper 4D chess. Like, we us chuds, we don't understand it. Man, we just don't understand it. And honestly, my biggest problem with him isn't even what he did in his past or whatever. I think you can move past that stuff. I think your life can change, right? It's that he is a spoiled fucking rich kid. And I don't mean that like, oh, if you grew up rich, like I'm mad that you grew up rich, or that your family is well off or whatever. No, dude, good for you. That's awesome. I'm not hating on that at all. Not hating on that at all. Like, good for you, bro. That's totally fine. It's that it creates this sense of entitlement. I have family from the East Coast, so I know what that like old money kind of mindset is. That I went to school with a lot of those kids. DU, the University of Denver, had a lot of different kids from a lot of different backgrounds. Some people were there on scholarships. Some people were kind of there like halfway like me. And then some people, it was like their dad literally donated a fucking building to the campus, right? Like name on the building. That's how high level they were. And that's for William's ilk. Now, I don't hate on that. If your family did well for themselves, good for you, man. That's great. But what it creates with someone like him is this sense of entitlement where he just thinks he's great at everything, and he's just God's greatest gift to man because he exists. And if someone doesn't like his content, well, they're jealous of my views. I don't give a shit about your views, bro. Who cares? Not everyone's as shallow and tepid as you are. I remember when he was trying to say nasty things about our faith, he was like, Pine Chud's just mad about my views. Oh, dude, you're so right. I am so mad that all you have is your audience of, again, Wingstop workers to look forward to. Meanwhile, me, the chud, on the other hand, I have, a community full of people who love me, who we've gone like brothers in war together. Like we, have overcome the highest highs and the lowest lows. Yeah, I'm really jealous of your community and your content, bro. That guy, again, it's the sense of entitlement and pride. I exist, therefore I'm entitled to an audience. You, me, everybody who makes content, we're not entitled to jack shit, dude. We get to do this for fun. I'm not entitled to you guys watching the stream. I'm not entitled to you guys tuning in. I have the luxury and the grace and the blessing of having you guys watch. And I am super grateful for that. I can't tell you how grateful I am. Every single time I do one of these streams, the rest of the night I am smiling. It makes my day. It makes my week. It makes my month. I don't deserve any of this. And so for someone like me to come on and be like, oh, let's see, how many do we have? Only 76 viewers. I deserve 100. I actually deserve 200. And I should be making $2,000 each stream. And I'm just like the best content creator ever. Are you fucking kidding me? You're lucky anybody watches. You're lucky anybody tunes in. Because when I click that go live button and I see you guys in the chat and the chat's moving and stuff like that, and I see you contributing and saying all these sweet things and stuff like that, that means something to me. I don't care if this audience was 50 people, 25 people, 10 people, 5 people. The fact that anybody's watching means the fucking world to me. But instead you get this fat fucking chud who goes on the internet and just thinks he's God's greatest gift to man, and oh, everyone should be appreciating all my hard work. Yeah, You're a spoiled rich kid, and you think you're just entitled to everything because you exist and you have a pulse and you breathe. You have to earn this. And I don't think that you have. So stick in your fucking lane, and you know what, Verillium? Keep your fucking keep my faith out of your fucking mouth. Go do your ortho LARP, whatever that is. Buy, 100 icons, a Mark of Ephesus, or whatever LARPy saint that you're gonna venerate. You think Camp of the Saints is a book about the lives of the saints, right? Go, put frickin' Sword of Christ, not Corey Mallard, Giles Corey, his book on your shelf. Guys, look, I have the base books. You should be, tapping into my stream. Go do that. Don't ever talk about Catholicism again. Because if I catch you talking about our faith again, I will snap your shit up in a single fucking moment, dude. I will lay you out 100 times. If I ever see that fat bitch ever talk about our faith again, I am going to destroy any shred of audience that he has left. Because the faith is the only thing I care about. I don't care about his dumb, takes on politics or what have. It's in one ear and out the other. I don't even watch that stuff. I'm so beyond it. But when someone starts talking ill about Catholicism, that's when my ears perk up. And so if I ever see that fat fucking chud talking about our faith again, we're going to have problems. So I suggest you stay in your lane and you stick to what you know. Because this is not your rodeo, buddy. It's mine. Let's see here. I know that was a long rant. I had to, I did a space on this and I had to just get that off my chest. I am so tired of the arrogance of that dude. He honestly embarrassed the fuck out of himself last year. And then he's got the gall to be like, Beardson's making fun of me. I'm entitled to everything. And actually, I'm going to talk about Catholicism. And I'm going to talk about the trad cath LARP of defending the Crusades. Yeah, shut the fuck up. You're lucky anyone is still watching after your shit got leaked, bro. Let's see. $5. Thoughts on distributism. Is it an unrealistic LARP or something worth fighting for? I think that there's some good elements there. Just in terms of like the idea of like how property is and, not living in an exploitive economy and stuff like that. My whole thing is use whatever ideology will lead us to a more Catholic society. If it's corporatism, if it's distributism, doesn't matter, but try to incorporate that in sort of the political structure, even if it's like on a lower or local level. So I haven't read enough about distributism, admittedly, to really give like an informed take, but it seems pretty good from what I understand. Taff sent $50. Looking good, Sap. Thank you, buddy. I really appreciate it. Pratt Culture sent 10. We heart Pine Chud. Never stop, buddy. I won't. I think being from Canada is restricting my contributing. F. Oh, I'm sorry, John. That sucks, man. That's okay, though. Beardson is right, Corbian. Thank you. Beardson's always right. We ride or die with Beardson, okay? Dude, Big Belly Beardson in the bathtub. We ride or die. Also, Francesca, in that one clip, I saw her kind of break off in the laughter, stuff like that. Listen, I'm not simping or anything like that, but she kind of grew on me a little bit. That was kind of a little funny. Like when I saw her start to like laugh, like she couldn't hold a straight face, that was kind of a little funny. I'm not gonna lie. I thought that was kind of a good bit. I'm no simp, but I just thought that was a little funny. Abdul Pinesap, what should we think of the kafir? Not one single kafir deserves to live. According to the strict law of the catechism, not one single kafir deserves to live, dude. Let's see. He needs to riz up Francesca. I think they're MFEO. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means, bro. We ride or die with you, Barnsap. I was about to say Barnsap. The rodeo Barnsap. We ride or die with you, Pine Sap. Well, thank you, Super Dino Boy. I really appreciate that, man. Beardson had the best stream coverage during the debate this morning. Yeah, I need to go back and watch that stream. I'm sure it was pretty good. I don't know if I can react to it on here, but we could see. We'd see about reacting to it on here. Oh, we're doing well on time as well. Made for each other. That's real, bro. I think they are made for each other. Gosh, I hope no one makes an AI vid of Pinecep straight yanking it full force. Man, that'd be a bad thing, dude. That'd be terrible. Distributism definitely has ideas to look into. I think economic nationalism is definitely an ideology to have too. Yeah, there's some German thinker. It's not Scheller. I can't remember his name. I know the Hamiltonian Book Club guys were really in on him. And I know that Hamilton dude crashed out, but I think the author was some German guy. I think Imperium Press actually put out like a reprint or a translation of one of his books, but according to the people who read that kind of literature, he's really good to check out and stuff like that. So I would definitely maybe recommend that German author if anyone can remember the name. And I mean, there's a ton of Catholic economic literature that's very good. Like Loretto Publications actually has like a lot of literature about like both politics and economy that's from a Catholic perspective. Like Father, oh gosh, dude, I'm gonna totally forget it. Father Vincent McNabb and like Father Heinrich Pesch and stuff like that are like really good guys. They're worth checking out, definitely. So I gotta get some water. I'm getting a little parched, dude. Callie says we love Pine Sap. Oh, thanks, Callie. I love you too. Welcome back, Pine. Your absence has been severely felt. Well, I guess I just gotta stream more, bro. I guess I just gotta stream more. Is that what I gotta do? I just gotta stream more? Let me know in chat. If I gotta stream more, so be it. I gotta give 110%. Oh yes, Father Julian Mine VL. He's phenomenal. Really, really traditional priest. He actually, I think, wrote a really good defense of Dignitatis Humanae that I've been meaning to read. But yeah, he's phenomenal. I think he was from Argentina, actually. But great priest. We love him. Hey, Pinecep, what do you think of Jesus and whatnot? His recent interactions with Dyer were so funny. Yeah, he's been cooking them. He's been cooking them. And I'm pretty sure Dyer's been resorting to lying about him. Like wasn't Dyer trying to say that he was like gay or something like that? That guy is so pathetic, man. I mean, I remember he was like in my DMs. He's like, so do you want to set up a debate on epistemology, on modern debate? It's like, I have not studied epistemology enough, bro. I mean, I know a little bit, but like not to a philosophical level or what have you. I'm down maybe like, I don't know, like a year from now or whatever when I do more reading on it. Like, I know I want to read like Grammar of Assent by like St. John Henry Newman and I think who are some other good epistemologists besides St. Thomas, of course. I think McIntyre is pretty good as well. But you know, I'm down later, but that guy's just such a chud, man. I think Wagner said it best. It's like, if you're 40 and you're still doing like blood sports debates, is that like really a good place to be in life? I stopped doing like blood sports, I think like 2 years ago, like 1 or 2 years ago, right? And my life has never been better. And I'm only 25. Like that guy's going on like what, like 40, 44, 45, and he's still doing blood sports. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, man, you gotta lay off. Like, where's your wife? Where's your kids, bro? Go back to your family. It's literally that clip from Smiling Friends. Dude, what the fuck? Where's your wife, bro? Where's your kids? Go back to your family. And the entire party's laughing at Pim. That's Jay Dyer, bro. That's who he is. Let's see here. Please stream more. Okay, I'll stream more. The chat has spoken. I gotta stream more, bro. Oh, and he destroyed Dean Withers. Yeah, I feel like Dean Withers is pretty easy to destroy, his agnosticism. I mean, like, didn't Dean Withers during Nick's debate say that like gay poop sex was similar to like hitting a piano key too hard? Wasn't that something that he said? He said like gay sex is basically like playing a piano wrong or like hitting a piano, like tuning a piano incorrectly. And I'm like, dude, this is insane. Like these people straight up these it's like I'm not trying to be gross. I'm not trying to be gross, but do you guys remember like when you were kids and there was the fun dip and you'd like lick the stick and then you'd like dip? It's like this homie Dean Withers out here like defending fun dip sex and comparing it to like playing a piano. That's crazy. We can't do that, bro. We can't do that. That's some like low hanging fruit, honestly. Like bro's defending mixing poo with the dipstick and saying it's like playing a piano. I just like Satan gives us really hilarious enemies. You know what I mean? Like Satan gives us like really funny enemies. Like in the past, you read about I was about to say Genghis Khan. You read about like Attila the Hun like confronting Saint Leo, and Saint Leo, like bears righteously, his presence, and gang or not Genghis Khan. Attila sees like Saints Peter and Paul with like swords pointing from heaven down at him, and he's like, I'm not gonna attack Rome as a result, right? That's the enemy Satan used to give us. And now Satan straight up gives us Dean Withers, who's like, yeah, I'm going to defend fun dip sex and compare it to playing a piano. That's crazy, man. That's actually insane. Like it's people used to say clown world. It's not clown world because there's not any cynicism. This is just kind of funny. This is like playing a video game at this point. Like our enemies are out here being like, I totally think a man can become a woman. And actually, it's just like tuning a piano, chud. It's just like playing a piano. That's crazy, man. That's actually pretty insane. Fun dipping my lips onto your lips. Hey, meet me after the show. It's like that clip of Nick. It's like, big booty, Groiper. Hey, hit me up after the show, right? No, but it's insane, dude. I mean, our enemies are the most ridiculous people in the entire world. Every single one of them is corny. They make it so easy for us. They're not these like intimate. I mean, I read about like Blessed Vladimir Gika literally dying on the operating table as like the Soviets are. I'm pretty sure they injected him with like carbonic acid and stuff like that, right? Like horrific deaths. Like the Romanian Catholic Church, literally like one of our martyrs having his stomach cut open and an aborted fetus being put in his stomach. Like these people were fucking brutal, insane animals. Like they were the most evil people you could possibly imagine. That's what they had to go through, right? I'm reading all these stories of martyrdom. And then what do we have today? We've got people that are like defending the most like morally depraved acts and like trying to like compare it to something as simple as like playing a piano. We've got people who, don't know like whether they're like an animal or a human. We've got people who like deny the basic reality of human life. I mean, it's just absurd, man. It's absurd. It's the easiest layup. I mean, call us LeBron James the way we're just like laying up these owns on these people. I was even reading, Logos Rising has this really funny quip where Daniel Dennett, one of the like four horsemen of New Atheism, wanted to call the New Atheists brights. Get it, because of how smart they are compared to those religious chuds. And it was so noxiously cringe. It was so terrible that you had Christopher Hitchens write in a review, and I think write a letter to him. He wrote a letter to him saying, you've like single-handedly discredited our entire movement. Like this was so unbelievably cringe. This was so negative aura. You've just killed New Atheism. Actually, guys, we're called brights because we're enlightened, unlike those religious people. So when the grandma is praying for her kid or her grandson who's dying of cancer, you just go over to her and say, actually, I'm a bright and I can tell you there's no heaven. Yeah, I'm sure, pal. Not to mention, too, like atheism is dead. I don't know if you guys have seen the statistics, but we live in a society more of people who would identify as like nons, right? Like non-religious, but not full on atheist, just more agnostic or spiritual, you know, oftentimes into new age and kind of eclectic spirituality, right? But most people don't identify as atheists. And even in my like daily life, I mean, Colorado's a super blue state, right? Like we're pretty blue. We're technically actually per our population more red, so we're more purple still. But like in terms of layout, you can feel kind of the blue culture here in some places, like parts of Denver or what have you. And even with those people, I don't encounter a lot of atheists anymore. I encounter a lot of agnostics or like people that are into new age tantric spirituality, right? They're not into full on atheism. Atheism just as a concept is dead because it totally discredited itself. Everybody intuitively has a spiritual sense of being, right? Everyone intuitively understands that there is something beyond this world and this cosmos and this life. That's built into us per our nature. And so I think atheists chide against that reality so much that it just looks ridiculous. At some point, people are looking at this and they're saying, this is the corniest thing I've ever heard. Like, this just isn't real, right? Like when an innocent child dies, when an innocent child like loses their life, and I'm not trying to get sad. I always feel like I'm up here and then we dip down, I'm just crazy like that. But when a child dies of cancer or there's a horrible car crash and, a family of 4 loses their life, I think a lot more people intuitively want to say like there is some divine power that has mercy on those people who didn't deserve to die. Then some disgusting chud coming along and saying, actually, they faded into nothingness because nothing matters and nothing exists. How does that sound? You gonna go up to the mom who just lost her little boy to cancer and say, actually, there's nothing beyond this. So basically what happened when your son died is he just faded into stardust. You're gonna look her in the eyes and tell her that? And look, this isn't my philosophical or apologetical argument for God. I'm not saying that. I'm not making an appeal to emotion, right? But on a human level, are you going to go up to that person, right? Some dad whose, daughter in high school just had a head-on collision, and she's dead. You're going to go up to that dad. He's going through the family photo album and he's looking at his little girl growing up, never able to become a woman because her life was cut short, and you're going to look at him and say, "Yeah, she's just stardust now. Yeah, her consciousness just faded. The electric in her brain just stopped. Like she was a toaster, like she was a Mac. And yeah, there's just nothing there anymore." That is the most inhuman and evil thing I could possibly imagine. That is the most evil thing I could possibly conceive of. I man, it happened a bunch of years ago, but honestly, like you can just feel the hurt and the pain that those two monsters caused, right? But there's a tragedy that my state is iconic for. There's a tragedy that my state lives in the shadow of, and I think you guys know which one I'm going to talk about. It's the Columbine High School shooting. Dylan Klebold and Eric Harris. April 20th, 1999. They go into Columbine High School and I believe took the lives of, if I'm not mistaken, 20 or 22 people. Right? Those are people that never got to be adults. Those are kids who never got to grow up. They were thinking about going to college the next year, who they were going to marry, the life that they were going to start. boys and girls who, never got to go back home, never got to sorry, I gotta lock in a little bit. They never got on that bus to hug their mom and their dad and tell them that they loved them. Never got the chance to say, I love you, grandma, I love you, grandpa. Their parents never got to see them walk that stage, right? You're going to go up to those parents and just say they're tree food now, right? That's what you're going to do. You're going to look that mom or that dad in the eye who they just watched on live television their entire life crumble before them. That kid was their world. And you're just going to tell them that they're just tree food, that they're just electric impulses, all these hopes, all these dreams, all this desire for beauty and art and creativity and love and joy and hopes and fears that just ended like it was nothing. I don't think so, man. I don't think so. That's the real evil of atheism. Because see, when I interact with agnostic people, they don't know the truth. They're not living the truth. They need to. We know there's no salvation outside the Catholic Church. Everyone needs to become Catholic. But they're people of goodwill. They're people who still intuitively know that there is something more to this life than just what we see around us. They understand that there's a cosmos and a design and a metaphysics and an impulse to everything that drives this reality, and that's beyond it too, and outside of it. That there's something more. That's a person I can interact with. That's a person that I can sit down with and appreciate the fact that they still have a heart that ultimately yearns for God. I don't know if I can sit down with the person who has to look that family in the eye. It's just a family. It's not just mom and dad. It's brothers and sisters and extended family and aunts and uncles and all their friends and grandparents and great-grandparents and cousins, everybody. I don't know if I can sit down and interact with that person that says, yeah, your daughter's just tree food now. Your daughter's just tree food. Your daughter, who the day she was born, you felt another heart grow within you. You felt almost like there was a new meaning to your life. Your son, who you saw turn into a little boy and go from being a little boy to becoming a young man to becoming a young adult. You watched him grow right before your eyes. He was your world. And his life was cut short. You're seriously going to go up to that dad, that mom, that cousin, that brother who will never get to hug that family member again, never get to hug that sister or that brother or that son or that daughter and say, they're nothing. They're nothing. All those real tender moments that you had with them, that was just hormones and electric impulses and biology and germs just coagulating in their brain. The times you laughed, the times you cried, the times you smiled, the times they were angry or hopeful or happy. Yeah, all that was just an illusion. All of that was just an illusion. And now they're worm food. You have to be the most evil motherfucker on earth to seriously consider saying something like that. I don't know how you look yourself in the eye. You have got to be the most evil, heartless person in the entire world. That's seriously how you think. I can interact with the agnostic person who, in the depth of their heart, has a still beating rhythm that yearns for God. I don't know if I can interact with the person who seriously entertains the fact that that real person that was just cut down in front of me is now dead. That's a whole different kind of game. That's a whole different kind of evil. Uh, Johnny cell phone and anonymous sent $5. Love you, Tess, love you. Yeah, I'm getting them, brother. Sorry, I'm just having my moment. Jack G sent $30, bro. You ready for fall time to get cozy for real? Frick this heat. Yeah, that's so real, dude. That's so real. Can any tricath woman actually acknowledge that despite having equal dignity, they're real less capable of divination? Nearly all the church fathers said this. I don't say this clown women, but they reject this. Anything is tangential. I'll cover that later. Sorry, just right now we're on a different moment. You know what I mean? I just don't get it, man. You know, and look, I to have even empathy towards the atheist, if you had something happen in your life, like for instance, I'll give actually an example. This is gonna date me, but you know, we'll make this reference. Chris Ray Gun. You know, if you guys were around on the internet 2016, 2015, 2017, you're watching YouTube and stuff like that, you guys remember Chris Ray Gun. And I remember Chris Ray Gun was a very pronounced atheist, right? He wasn't agnostic, he was an atheist. But I'm positive that the reason he said he was an atheist is because he watched his sister die, and his sister was his entire world. And I think someone like that isn't evil. Because I think that their impulse for being an atheist, for being somebody who has rejected the existence of God, is not that they maliciously would want to tell someone involved in a tragedy that their loved one is nothing, but that they've been hurt. You know, they've gone through a traumatic experience in life. They've gone through something that has been altering to their world, and they don't know how to handle it except the cruel concoction of atheism. Because what God would permit something like that? What God would permit someone like Chris Ray Gun's sister to pass away? Right? That's the question that crosses someone's mind. And I always think about you know, there's an I'm Beggar video where he's talking about Dostoevsky and the interaction between Christ and the Inquisitor. And in that interaction, you know, the Inquisitor looks at Christ and he says, "How could you allow all these things? You're God, right? You're God, and you allow people to suffer and people to die for all these bad things to happen. You know, how can you be God if you allow this to happen?" And Christ, sullen, almost looking down, as if internalizing everything that he just heard, gets up and goes to the Inquisitor and just kisses him on the lips. Sorry. I'm gonna try to, I promise I'll lock in. I promise I'll lock in. he just kisses him. He just embraces him. And sorry, I promise I'm not doing this performatively or what have you. I will be honest. I'll drive in the car sometimes, and like Peter Paul and Mary's like 500 miles comes on, and I just I'm like hit with this, right? This is not, I don't play this up for the camera or whatever. I like, I'm almost thinking as we're talking a little bit, and it's hard for me to wrap my head around everything. But it's like God beyond all time and all space saw our rejection of him in the garden. He knew, I think back in Genesis when God breathes life into Adam's lungs, right, for the first time. And he fashions him from the clay of the earth, right? He fashions him from clay. He fashions him from the dust of the earth. First, there's no life in him. It's just a form. He breathes life into his nostrils, and finally he comes awake and he's alive. The funny thing is, like, and I was thinking about this the other day, like, God did all that knowing that Adam and Eve would betray him. It's in his foreknowledge. He knew it was going to happen. And so he breathes life into Adam's lungs. He fashions Eve from Adam's rib. And they reject him. And they're plunged down to the earth, and they're told with that plunging down to the earth, but I promise you, Savior. And I don't think Adam and Eve maybe quite knew who that Savior was. They didn't fully conceptualize it. And little did Adam and Eve and their descendants really know or conceptualize. The prophets knew, right? But little did they know that sorry, this is really tough. That Savior was going to be God's son. It wasn't just going to be anybody. It wasn't going to be Superman. It wasn't going to be superhero or a superhuman or what have you. It wasn't going to be some angel from on high. It was literally God's son. And God's son didn't come down in a chariot of fire. He didn't come down with the army of angels behind him, even though he could have called one up at any time. He came as a little boy, born in a manger, already hated by the world at his birth. Simeon, when Jesus was presented in the temple, I always think of this scene. It's like when he's presented in the temple, right? And Simeon's looking upon him. Simeon must have thought to himself, this is my God, this is my Savior. But his life is going to be full of pain. And his life was, he from the time he was born, people were trying to kill him. He grew up, and people tried to stone him and reject him at every turn. And even his closest friend betrayed him, and he knew he was going to betray him. And he still called him his friend. And his friends that didn't betray him left him and stopped believing in him. And after all that, he was still willing to die. He was still willing to die for you and me. And that's really hard to think about beyond like time and space. It's not like Jesus was, kind of dealing with these events as they came on. It's like he literally, in his foreknowledge, knew all this was going to play out. And he still did it. And so when when I think of like the problem of evil, there's a lot of great books. There's a lot of great apologetics on it. Jimmy Akin's got a good video, right? Cardinal Journey, one of my heroes, has a great book called The Meaning of Evil, right? Or it's, I believe, The Problem or The Meaning of Evil. He goes into this. And yet, I can't help, despite all of that, thinking to myself that when we live this life full of pain, when Chris, as an example, lost his sister, it was probably his world. I think anyone who's a sibling knows how that is, right? It was really, really hard for me to watch Austin Metcalf's brother. That was I have a couple videos in my favorites, right? And the videos that are in my favorites are not really, sometimes I think there might be like one funny one in there, right? But they're videos on my Photos app that are meaningful to me, that I watch from time to time just to contemplate them, just to think about them, not to even get a laugh, not to just think that they're, oh, this is a based edit or what have you, but videos to just watch and think about. And one of the ones on there is Austin Metcalf's brother looking at the camera as they're, I believe, reading the verdict for Carmelo Anthony and doing that press conference, and he doesn't break eye contact. And there's that time lapse. And it's like, his entire world was taken away. That was his whole world taken away from him. It was his brother. That was everything to him. You saw the face of a man dying on the inside because Austin wasn't the only person that was killed that day, it was him. When I think of Austin's brother, or I think of Chris Ray Gun, or I think of you guys, I've gotten messages before where, someone was like, I lost my mom, I lost my dad, I lost my sister or my brother, or it can even be your grandma or your grandpa, even though it probably was old age, right? Like, someone in your life who is your world. I just always go back to thinking that beyond space and beyond all time, God was willing to go through all of that just to embrace you. that the problem of evil, as good of an oration as one could give about, here's how God, brings evil out of good, or brings good out of evil, and uses this moment to raise you up or what have you. That just like that scene with the Inquisitor, Jesus doesn't say anything to you. He just gets up and he goes over to you and he just embraces you, as if to say, all that pain that you feel, all that suffering that you feel, the death in your heart that you've experienced, that's why I died. That was my sacrifice. I gave my life so I could be close to you in this moment. I think about that all the time. That's the real answer to the problem of evil. At the end of the day, you can give the most sophisticated answer, and it's probably a good one. But all you know is that you have a broken heart, and a piece of yourself that will never heal, and a wound there that can't be drowned in enough scotch, in enough gambling, in enough narcotics to ever make it go away. And the only person who is with you in that moment is the person that, beyond all space, beyond all time, before you ever existed, before humanity was ever made, said, I love you so much that I want to die for you. I love you so much that this is the pain that I died for. Let me be with you in your pain. That's why I came into this world. And that's why I took on your flesh and suffered as you suffer. So that anguish of your heart could rest in mine. That's the meaning of the incarnation. So I think about that a lot. It's kind of been on my mind, like, gosh, I don't even know how long. Probably these past few weeks. Just the why of it all. You know what I mean? Like the real why. Because when it comes to our faith, man, I mean, and this is not to dog on them. They do great work, and I love them, and I do support their mission. But like, you can give the quick and easy Catholic answers responses, right? You can just be belting them out, and you can just know, here's why X, Y, Z work. But it's like, as wonderful as those are, there's a deeper truth. There's a deeper contemplation. There's a deeper, more heartfelt element to everything that we believe that has no easy answers. But it's the truth that sets you free. You know what I mean? So look at me getting all emotional again, right? I know that's my thing. That's how I'm wired, right? I'm don't call me sap for nothing. I'm a sappy guy, but it it's just something that's on my mind a lot. Pope Francis in Lumen Fide 17. If God could not act in the world, his love would not be truly powerful, truly real, and thus not even be true. A love capable of delivering the bliss that it promises. It would make no difference at all whether we believed in him or not. Christians, on the contrary, profess their faith in God's tangible and powerful love, which really does act in history and determines its final destiny. A love that can be encountered, a love fully revealed in Christ's passion, death, and resurrection. Are we back? We back, y'all? Can you hear me? Y'all? Can you hear me? Sorry, I didn't realize. I didn't realize the stream went down. Okay, we're back. Phew, we're good. Pope Francis truth nuke so big that it bugged the stream. Dude, real. People didn't want to hear this. People didn't want to hear this, right? You know, I'm not saying this just to like Pope splain or anything like that. You know, some people may take it this way, but if you really want to like know God's love for you, first and foremost, you got to read the Bible, right? That goes without saying. And the saints. And then below that, I would unironically recommend Pope Francis's books without a second hesitation. The way that that man wrote about God's love and mercy, you could tell he had a keen sense of God's love. Just the depths and the riches and the inexhaustible love that he has for you and me. I don't think I've ever heard it more perfectly explained by someone. I really don't think I've ever heard a more perfect enunciation. And again, I'm not saying that just to Pope Slane. I'm not saying that just to Glaze or anything like that. But some of those quotes that I've heard are things that I needed to hear, because I think that sometimes, you know, for those of us who want to be faithful Catholics, and well, everyone should want to be a faithful Catholic, but those who are trying our best to be faithful Catholics, that's a better way of putting it. For those who are trying to be faithful Catholics, I think it's very easy in seeing the evils of the world and even seeing the evils of ourselves to kind of deny ourselves mercy. Kind of almost say that like, why me, right? That whole like, why me? Why would God die for me? I clearly deserve hell. That's where I'm headed. Why me? And I think this is a temptation that all of us struggle with, right? Like, this is a temptation that I think every single one of us has faced, where it's like we ask that question of why me? It's because we see the evil of the world and we don't want to give it license, right? And that is a good and holy impulse. We shouldn't. Evil will not go unpunished. But the person who repents won't be punished. And that's a truth of our faith that we forget. There will be people in heaven that you would never suspect would be there. I almost guarantee it. There will be people who you look at in your life. I'm sorry for the language, but you look at them and you say, that person was a fuck up. That person was a douchebag. They were a fuck up. They always messed up. They were lazy. They were stupid. They were tepid, impulsive, all these things. Yet sometimes that person, in the depth of their soul and the depth of their being, is the one who cries out for God the most. And realizes that they are powerless to do anything. Realizes they are powerless to do anything to merit their own salvation. That they need God. And there's those of us who say, well, dude, I got it all figured out. I'm based, I'm trad, I got it all figured out. I do the right devotions. Lord, I thank you for not making me like other men. I take up the first seat in Mass. I pray loudly the hymns, right? I pray loudly the prayers during Mass. I volunteer for everything, right? And we may beat our chest and extol ourselves. But sometimes we then think that we need the mercy and love of God the least. We got it all figured out. We got this Catholic thing all figured out. It's all squared away, tied up and wrapped up in a nice little bow, right? And it couldn't be further from the truth. Every single one of us needs God. Every single one of us needs his mercy. And everyone needs to call upon God. Not as a tyrant wanting to smite us down in an instant, but as a loving Father who wants nothing more than to journey with you and walk with you in the life of this faith. That's what we need the most, dude. And it's why, too, we need to uplift those around us, right? I know it's very easy, and this is something that I think we oftentimes struggle with. Like when we first become Catholic, we're like, we look at everyone around us and we're like, look at these Gentiles, right? According to the strict law of the Torah, not one Gentile in the world deserves to live. And, we certainly have that, I think that mindset sometimes of the people around us. We're like, this person is not all there. Maybe they're not going the way of truth. They don't seem to care about truth. And we kind of give up on them. We give up on them. We throw them out. We say that person's for the streets. That person's a dog. They're done. And then yet sometimes that person will say something that surprises you. Maybe it's just a conversation that you had that you didn't think anything of. Maybe it's a reflection that they have. And it almost takes the air out of your lungs. You're like, I would have never expected this person to say this in a million years. I would have never in a million years expected that person to so perfectly enunciate the love of God or the truth of our faith or the way of humility or any of these things that I believe in. And yet they managed to hit on that truth. Like they were the greatest theologian ever born amongst men. That's why we always need to be humble. We always need to seek to uplift people around us. And look, it's not to say, if you've tried talking to the faith with someone and they're not taking, what does Jesus say? He says, don't cast pearls before swine. Dust the shake off the dust off your feet, right? But you still pray for those people. Because sometimes even the most unlikely people become the greatest saints. I think it was actually Chesterton one time who said something to the effect of, he's like, the people who sometimes go kicking and screaming into the church wind up becoming the best saints of all time. And I've been amazed, dude. I mean, there are people who I hope he watches this, but I remember one of my friends when I first met him, we were like in the gym. And we were all hanging out. We had this group of guys, and a lot of my friends are Eastern Orthodox. And he had his tchotchke, his prayer rope wrapped around his wrist, which is Catholic. That's a Catholic thing, right? Nothing evil or wrong about that. And I was complimenting. I was like, "Oh, dude, prayer rope and stuff like that." And I was like, "Have you ever considered Catholicism?" And he shut me down quick. He said, "Nope." He's like, I'm not in. He's like, I'm not into it. I'm Russian Orthodox all the way. It wasn't even like a second thought to him. And he was like not having it at all. I was like taken aback. I was like, okay, all right, right. I didn't want to give up on him, but he seemed very adamant that he did not want to become Catholic ever. And I remember there's been times in my life where it's been tough being regular about attending mass. I'll fully confess that, right? There's stuff I'm either going through or just stupid excuses or what have you, and that This was one of those times, and Holy Week was coming up, and I said, hey, let's go to Holy Week, right? Let's celebrate Holy Week. It's only right. And I remember we on that Good Friday, it's the liturgy, the Good Friday liturgy, which is honestly one of my favorite liturgies of the entire liturgical year. And we're practicing the veneration of the cross when we get to that moment of the liturgy. It's like all the air out of the room is taken out every single time. I love it. It's like everything focuses in on venerating that cross. But this was special because this parish had actually a piece of the true cross in a little, I can't remember the relic holders. I think reliquary attached to the larger wooden cross. And I go up and I kiss the piece of the true cross in this reliquary. I'm just taken aback. It's phenomenal. And then he goes up because he had agreed to go to Mass with me just to check it out, right? He kneels down and he kisses the piece of the true cross. We're wrapping up with the liturgy, Father saying all the prayers and what have you. We're moving through it, and we go outside, and I just ask him, what do you think? And I was maybe expecting him to just at first say like, oh, that was pretty cool or whatever, or like that was kind of a cool experience. And he looked at me and he said, dude, the moment I kissed that piece of the true cross, it was like something descended upon me. And it felt like I was right where I needed to be. He looks me dead in the eyes and he's like, Connor, I don't think I want to be Eastern Orthodox anymore. I want to be Catholic. I would have never expected that from him. Like, I thought I was really going to have to work on him. I thought it was going to be like months, maybe years of conversations and, dude, here's how universal jurisdiction worked in the early church and all the patriarchs don't have the same whatever, right? Typical internet apologetics. And all it took was one real living encounter with God in that church. And he was convinced. And ever since then, he's grown leaps and bounds in his spiritual life. I mean, he's like reading Imitation of Christ every single day. He was telling me stuff over the phone about like not judging his neighbor that was like humbling me. I was like, I'm hella judgmental. That's one of my capital sins. I'm very judgmental. I judge people all the time. And for stupid minor shit that doesn't even matter, right? That you're like, why did I judge that person, right? And he's humbling me, right? He's saying stuff over the phone that I'm like, dude, like this is like monk level insight, right? It just goes to show that never doubt the power of God. Never doubt the way that God can change someone's heart. Never doubt what God can do in someone's heart, because sometimes he can work miracles so great that it will have your head spinning. And you'll say, blessed be the name of the Lord. I would have never expected that in a million years. And I'm always amazed, dude. I still get knocked off my horse like St. Paul. I still get knocked off my horse like St. Paul, right? It's almost like I have to believe again. Because we don't believe in a rationalist faith. We don't believe in a faith that's just a bunch of set of propositions. It's like we believe in the real living God who encounters us in our lives every single day and who's still working miracles to this day. And I think that's pretty dang cool. I think that's pretty awesome, right? So let's see here. see a great question in chat. Let me just read these super chats so I don't forget. Let's see here. River Run. Hey, it's good to see River Run. Let's go. Part 1, translation of the Mass of from St. Pius the Fifth to Paul the Sixth, Dom Guy Ori, Monk of Solms, 1975. Take my money. Thank you, buddy. I'll check that out later, actually. Cloud sent $20. Thanks, Heart. Well, thank you, Cloud. I really appreciate that. Is that the same Cloud that has the cat PFP? Is that the Cloud I'm thinking of, or maybe a different one? I can't remember, bro. But it's all good. I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. That really means a lot to me. Doom Guy Slayers said in chat, can someone be saved outside the Catholic Church? I have ecclesial anxiety right now and would love to be Catholic if it's true. I need to research further and follow God's grace. Can I be saved? My brother, I will tell you this. Not because I judge or condemn you or anything like that. This is a truth that is the balm of mercy that God wants to share with me and you. There is no salvation outside the Catholic Church. You need to become Catholic in order to be saved. People who are saved outside of the visible structure of the church are saved through an extraordinary means of grace of not having any access to the truth. So this is somebody who was on a desert island, right? On a desert island, they could never know about Catholicism, right? They could never know. And God uses his grace to bring them out of their ignorance. Those are the only people who even have the slightest possibility of possibly being saved outside the visible structure, but they are still within the mystical structure of the church. Keep that in mind. That is such a negatable percentage of humanity that anyone who is outside the church will not be saved. And so it is incumbent upon you to love the Lord your God and accept his church and become a part of it in order to be saved. And that is the Catholic Church. But once you become a part of that church, you will never have to have ecclesial anxiety again. The real reason you will not have to have ecclesial anxiety is you have to think about how every other body, and this kind of gets into a little bit of a question of epistemology, but how does every other body of Christians understand themselves, right? Let me let's see. Mo Gummy sent $5. Thank you. Hi, Sappy. Hi, chat. Hope everyone is doing well. Also, your lighting is low key, makes you look nefarious. Evil sap. I was about to say something I should say. Grape Sneeko sap. Dubious sap. No, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Protestants don't have the four marks: one, holy, Catholic, and apostolic. There's no way of telling whether you're inside Protestantism or outside Protestantism. Billy Joe Baptist might say, well, all you got to do, brother, is say that you believe and you're saved. And then Joe Guy Anglican can say, no, you actually have to belong to the Anglo super Catholic conservative split off denomination of Wichita, Kansas in order to be saved. And there's no clear contender within that world. You don't know whether it's that conservative mainline group. You don't know whether, Redeemed Zoomer, what's his name? Richard Ackerman. You don't know whether Richard Ackerman is right and you have to be a gay mainline Protestant, right? Or whether you have to be a Baptist or an evangelical and just say, I believe to be saved, right? And I know there's more nuance in the Protestant world. I know I'm not maybe being completely fair with the question of salvation, but that's generally kind of a way to understand their craziness. There's no clear distinction there. So you start to look more towards the apostolic churches, right? The churches with actual material apostolic succession, not necessarily formal. We're getting to that, but material. And you come to, let's say the Oriental Orthodox or the Eastern Orthodox. Okay. They have disputes amongst themselves all the time that lessens the true salvific visibility of their church, meaning one patriarch will dispute with another patriarch and say, well, you're teaching a false heretical doctrine on rebaptism. No, you're basically teaching neo-Donatism, and rebaptism is sacrilege, and you don't know in that world who to follow because they all have equal authority. Baptism is a big problem for them. There was a famous story of a Anglican ecumenist who was very interested in the East. His name was William Palmer. And William Palmer actually went east to try and determine how to join the Eastern Orthodox Church, right? Sorry, I saw Willie said in chat, Protslop is prelest. So true. He was trying to figure out how to join the true Eastern Orthodox Church. And so he goes to Russia. Actually, I'm getting this in reverse. He goes to Greece. Right? Constantinople, right? Ecumenical patriarch, makes sense. Center of the Eastern Orthodox world. And they tell him you have to be rebaptized. You're not baptized. But Palmer knew enough about patristics that he knew, as Saint Stephen the Great had ruled against Saint Cyprian, that rebaptism was completely condemned. Right? As Saint Augustine says, Pope Saint Stephen, I don't know whether I'm pronouncing that right. We'll say Pope Saint Stephen. All these great saints and church fathers had ruled against rebaptism. And he knew he had been baptized in the valid formula. So he said, there's no way I should be rebaptized. That is sacrilege. That is a sin against one baptism. These guys are wrong. So he hears rumor that the Russians at this time don't rebaptize. So he goes up there and they say, oh, well, you don't have to be rebaptized, just chrismated and you're good. Right? Chrismated as in being confirmed. We get chrismated when we're confirmed as well, right? The holy oil is poured upon your head, sign of the cross, etc., and you're confirmed in the church. You become a full Christian. He says, okay, well, that sounds better, but I don't understand if this is one body, one church, why do the Greeks say that I need to be rebaptized, and why do the Russians say I don't, and I just need to be confirmed? Christ's church would only have one answer, not these endless disputes. So biting his lip, because he's Anglican, Anglicans at this time were wildly anti-Catholic. W.G. Ward, for instance, who converted from Anglicanism to Catholicism, lost his degree and is standing at Oxford University just for becoming Catholic. That's how anti-Catholic Anglicans were at this time. So he bites his lip and he says, I'll go down to Rome. And he goes down to Rome, and what's the answer? You were validly baptized. You just need to be confirmed. And you will be in this church. You will be a part of the one church of God. That is our final answer. Anyone who says that you need to be rebaptized cannot call themselves a Catholic. They are outside of the church and they deny our faith. He was baptized as a Roman Catholic, baptized into the church, into the one holy Catholic and Apostolic Church, and lived the rest of his days as a faithful Catholic. The East, whether the Orientals or the Eastern, quote, Orthodox, can't answer those questions. They're not one body. They are a disunited confederation of churches that constantly fight amongst themselves, yet have equal claim to authority. But only the Catholic Church offers you that single answer. It's not that the Pope is some divine oracle that answers every single last question on theology. Magisterium is not going to answer every single last question about theology that you have. There's certainly sometimes open topics, open questions, Scotism versus Thomism on this certain question that the magisterium has not ruled on, sure. But when it comes to being saved, there is one single answer that we all are asked at our confirmation. Do you believe and accept everything that the Catholic Church teaches? this church given to us by our Lord Jesus Christ, through which he speaks. If you say yes, you are a Catholic. And all that is incumbent upon you is being a faithful, believing Catholic, accepting everything that the church teaches, and living a life of grace. And I guarantee you, my friend, not to have presumption, but this is the promise of our Lord. If you do all of that, you will be saved. It is not hard. It is not difficult. It is not esoteric. If you live as an Orthodox Catholic, Orthodox meaning right teaching, you don't believe any weird heresies, you don't deny what the church teaches knowingly, right? You can make a theological error, we all do, right? Sometimes we don't know every last question of the faith, and we may say something wrong by accident. God does not impart any judgment upon you if you do that. But as long as you don't knowingly deny a single teaching of the Catholic Church, and you live a grace-filled life, you will be saved. That is something that Jesus has promised to us. That anyone who believes in him will be saved. So there's no reason to have ecclesial anxiety. Jules Samuels said, in spite of that, there are many riches in the Anglican Church, which is why Pope Benedict blessingly gave us the ordinariates, which I will one day be a priest of, God willing. Hey, dude, that's awesome. Yeah, if you become an ordinariate priest, that would be so amazing. That would be so amazing. Orthodox are better at mending schisms because they seem to let you just do whatever from my limited understanding. I would disagree. And my question is, do they really mend a schism? Right? Because if you look at their history, they don't really ever mend anything, right? These disputes go on for hundreds of years, and they never really get to the bottom of them, and they never really definitively answer these questions. I mean, look at the Synod of Crete in 2013, right? Where both the Russian Orthodox Church, I think maybe the Bulgarian Orthodox, and Mount Athos did not give their approval to Synod and says it has no binding on the conscience of Orthodox Christians. And yet, all these other Orthodox churches accept it as a council to be accepted by other Orthodox. That's a schism right there. Do you really have the same faith if one set of Orthodox Christians say you have to accept this council and the other don't? And again, Jay and a bunch of the other sophists love to bring up, oh, well, you've got the SSPX. The SSPX are in schism now. Declared from the Church of Rome. So what now? Oh, but sede vacantis. So just anyone who claims to be Catholic says anything, and that's a disproving of our epistemology? I don't think so. Whereas you, in your church's history, have equal claims of authority. One patriarch says something, another patriarch says something. They have equal claims of authority. One of them could be right. But if you go against the Holy Father, the Pope of Rome, you know you're dead wrong in the Catholic world. It's just that simple. We believe in a church that is as simple as for Grandma Schmidt, as well as Heinz Guggenthurber, the theologian, defined and be a part of. But in the Orthodox world, there is complete ambiguity and esoteric imagining that would almost make it impossible for someone to know whether they were truly pursuing the Orthodox faith or not. Nixmus Low Graper, can you go to a Cardi concert and live stream? Would be opium. Sure, man. That'd be awesome. I'll blast Pissy Pamper and everything. It'll be awesome. I mean, mending schisms in theory. I maybe understand what you're trying to say, bro. Seventh-day Adventism refutation, real quick. I'm gonna have to look up stuff for that. I barely interact with Seventh-day Adventists, that I don't really know the apologetics a ton towards them, but let me look that up for next stream. We'll do another stream, and I'll look up all the good apologetics to kind of direct towards them. I was watching Wagner's 10K stream from 2 years ago, and in it you said you were cool with Orthodox Luigi. Are you still? No, sadly. No, I am not. I found that he doxed Pope Respecter's son, and then started complaining about people going after his wife when she had a public Instagram she would post pictures of herself on. And, at first I was against people pointing this out, but then when I found out he doxed a man's son, where, if Ortho Luigi brings it up, he's an adult, so it's different. No, it's not different. You going after someone's family and trying to fuck with them is fucked up, right? I don't care how you try to justify it. I don't care how you try to skin the cat. It's still skinning a cat, right? Um, I had contentions with him for that reason. And then when he blocked me after I got really tired of him deciding to lie about our church and calling all our priests pedophiles, he then decided to like lie about me and slander me and talk a bunch of shit. So honestly, that guy's fucking dead to me. I have no desire to interact with him. I really kind of honestly don't have any desire to mend anything with him. I think he's a piece of shit, honestly, if you want my blunt take. I think Ben is a piece of shit. And the way that he is heading, and I'm not just saying this because of our beef, that's whatever, doesn't necessarily have bearing on his salvation. But way he slanders God's church, he's headed for a first class ticket straight to the bottom of hell. So I really hope he repents, because he is taking that first class shuttle to hell. The way he talks about Catholicism is fucking nasty. I never in a million years would talk about Eastern Orthodoxy the way he talks about Catholicism. Yes, I understand that there are bad Eastern Orthodox priests. There are priests that abuse people and stuff like that in the Eastern Orthodox world. I've met a ton of Eastern Orthodox clergy that are super nice, super upright, super moral men who clearly love Jesus. I'm friends with a lot of IRL Orthodox people who are way better followers of Christ in terms of their moral conduct than I am. They still need to become Catholic, of course, to be saved. And I say that as their friend wanting them to be saved, but they are great moral men, and I would never slander them in a million years. Ben can't say the same. He thinks just fucking lying about people and lying about the Church of God is perfectly acceptable, and that's honestly why he's currently headed to hell. I really hope he turns around, though. It'd be very sad. I don't want that for him. I want him to go to heaven. I want him to be saved. I want his family to be saved, but he is an evil piece of shit. And I know that's very blunt. I'm sorry for that, but I have very strong feelings towards that lying cocksucker. Opinion on secular or slightly Christian media, such as the classic movie The Bishop's Wife or other obvious examples. As long as it's not blasphemous, my opinion is anything that is good and upright and moral, as St. Paul says, I'm trying to remember the exact verse, but think on that which is good, that which is uplifting, to paraphrase. Any secular movie that's like that, I say is a Christian movie, to be honest. I think we have to get away from this idea that every Christian movie has to be always explicitly that way. I think there's a lot of implicitly Christian movies that have nothing offensive or odious to the gospel that we should really appreciate. And if we fail to appreciate them, we could be missing out on some great Christian media as a result. So that's a fantastic question, actually, Hamilton. I think secular or slightly Christian movies that are perfectly in line with the gospel, we got to appreciate them, man. Because we went to church on Sunday instead of Saturday. Crazy. Yeah, Seventh-day Adventists are crazy, man. I heard some arguments about Catholicism. They also have pride masses. America, true or no? Wouldn't that invalidate it? Or some controversial JP2 said. I don't want to be rude, but some Orthodox say a priest doing a bad mass somewhere doesn't invalidate the faith. There's Orthodox priests that do bad liturgies, right? An individual priest doing something bad does not invalidate the faith. Priests have been doing bad things for thousands of years. In fact, there's an apocryphal story about a cardinal speaking with Napoleon, and Napoleon says to the cardinal, he's like, I think it was Cardinal Consalvi, he's like, I'm going to destroy the Catholic Church. And he's like, I think he says like, Your Excellency. He's like, Your Excellency, we've been trying to do that for hundreds, if not thousands of years, and we haven't succeeded. So there's always going to be bad priests. There's always going to be priests not living up to the ideals or teaching of the church. That doesn't disprove Catholicism for an instant. And all the slander about JP2 is insane. It's just all lies. And I can send you some good articles or address some stuff. They tend to recycle a lot of these objections. So it's nothing we haven't encountered before. But St. John Paul II was a great champion of Catholic orthodoxy, contrary to what the people who love to lie about him say. Seventh Day Adventists reject St. Paul's teaching on worshiping on Sunday. Sorry, I was just checking the time. The Sabbath is forever. God simply changed the day in the new law. Same with the priesthood. So true. Someone's parents won't let them get baptized, and they're a minor. What does the church call them to do? Also, W stream. Well, thank you, Aras. Won't let them get baptized and they're a minor. What does the church call them to do? Well, if you're a catechumen and you already believe in what the church teaches, what the Second Vatican Council would say is that the church already claims you as her own. But that is actually a great question. I'm trying to shoot from the hip here. I believe you could get baptized without your parents' permission. You would just need to talk to the priest. But I believe you can. I believe you could get baptized without your parents' permission, since you're maybe of the age of reason, and that would be a reasonable thing that you've decided to do. But that would be something to maybe consult a priest with. But as a catechumen, as someone who is inquiring into Catholicism, the church in some ways considers you already one of her own by just the sheer fact that you love her and want to be a part of her. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't stop trying to get baptized and confirmed. I just mean you shouldn't feel so outside. The church already loves and embraces you. Do you see his tweet saying the EO Church was the most anti-ecumenist church out there? What a crock of horse shit, man. I mean, literally, they've been on the World Council of Churches for, I mean, I believe since the 1920s, if I'm not mistaken. And, the whole reason they have the old calendarists and the true Orthodox is because the true Orthodox and the old calendarists rightly point out that unilaterally, all the Orthodox churches, all the world Orthodox churches engage in ecumenism. Every single one of them. All of them are ecumenical. All of them most of them recognize the holy orders of like other churches. Some of their saints even recognize the holy orders of Anglicans and Episcopalians. Insane, right? So, I mean, some of them go so far as to say that like Episcopalians have holy orders and stuff like that. It's absolutely crazy. Hey, Sap, please pray for my friends in Saudi and Iran who currently cannot be baptized. Absolutely. Get them, if you can, get them in contact with TAVNet. Hassan is running that program. TAVNet is great. It's a ministry to help people who live in Muslim countries become Catholic. So definitely try to get them in contact with TAVNet. But God is Not Dead is the best Christian movie of all time. No, dude, that's like the worst. I hate movies like that have to depict the antagonist as so comically evil that they're like not even human, because it doesn't serve the gospel. It just makes for a very incredibly flimsy story, and thus I feel like people interpret the movie as oh, Christians are so insecure about their faith they have to attack straw men, right? Give me an antagonist that is like a real person that I would interact with, not someone who's just like, I'm an evil atheist and I think everyone should die. It's like, I've never interacted with a person like that. You know what I mean? Is The Incredibles implicitly Christian? I think so, honestly. I think it's a really good family movie. I think it's got a very upbeat and positive message, and I think its pro-family attributes do make it a Christian movie. Let's see. Thoughts on the suggestion that you get a different haircut to send. Those aren't my words. I saw someone say this on Twitter. Yeah, I'm totally okay. To be honest, the picture that I posted was actually tongue in cheek, and I'm not saying that as cope. Like I was kind of doing the mewing thing as like somewhat of a joke. And I was gonna post in my private group chat. I was like, guys, don't worry, Gigasap isn't real. He can't hurt you. And I was gonna post that picture and say Gigasap. But I had just gotten out of the rain. I had done one of my walks and it was just like downpouring. So my hair kind of looked literally like Ellen Page's from the new Odyssey movie and stuff like that. But yeah, I do need to get another haircut soon. It's grown a little long, but yeah, I'm down with that. I don't know what would necessarily look good for like my head shape or what have you, or what would look better maybe than this or what have you, but I'm open to suggestions so long as it's not trolling, right? But yeah, no, that's a good thing to bring up. How do you feel about the current theology apologetic scene compared to 4 years ago? It seems like we are heading in a very good direction. I would completely agree. I think we've gotten over slop apologetics and just easy answers, and we're actually starting to get into what it really means to be Catholic. And I'm not against pop apologetics in the way of like understanding or like memorizing easy facts about the faith. I mean, look, if you're like a blue collar guy and you work construction or something, you're not going to be going in these super detailed arguments. So, having sort of an easier approach to apologetics is by no means evil or wrong. I'm actually a very big proponent of that, but not as contrary to going into apologetics in a deeper and more meaningful way. I think it's a yes and. We need both the easy apologetics, but we also need the more detailed, true engagement with theology that can help, uh, really lead people to truth at that point. Yeah, I would love some links if you can give it to me. Yeah, join my chat on Telegram, Pine Comments. You can get it from, just Pine Sap. If you look it up on Telegram, there's my channel. Is the Vatican coronavisor real? I don't know what that is, actually. How do you feel about media that depicts priests and characters breaking vows? I get it for the sake of drama and storytelling at the time, but I feel like the writers don't understand how serious that is. I'm generally against movies like that. If the message is like this is wrong and it's demonstrating like how evil that is as a means of like having an ultimately Catholic message, that's one thing in order to communicate like what they did is wrong. But yeah, like films sexualizing nuns or like there's even like films that try to depict priests as like perverted or whatever. I think we should completely avoid movies like that. I remember Hassan appealing to St. Thomas Aquinas and saying that a child whose parents won't let them get baptized shouldn't do it against their will until they are independent. They should do fasting. Oh, maybe then if Hassan said that and he cited St. Thomas Aquinas, go with what St. Thomas said. I think that's a good rule of thumb. I once watched God's Not Dead at a winter camp. I think I was the only guy in the room watching because it was it was that boring. Yeah, dude, that's so true, honestly. Frankie Noguera, W Stream, thoughts on Alex Poe's recent videos. God bless you, Pine Sap. I actually have not seen Alex Poe's recent videos. I need to check them out. Let's see here. Feels guy emoji. Get a buzz cut. I don't know about that, man. Not that I look terrible with a buzz cut, but I don't know if that's kind of the best. Is cuties inherently Muslim? Yeah. Sneegro loves it, so that should about tell you all you need to know. Sneeko loves it. If Sneeko loves it, it's inherently Muslim. He's a big proponent of cuties, so that should tell you everything you need to know about Islam and everything you need to know about him. I would not be surprised if that guy is guilty of that kind of stuff, to be completely honest. He seems like a total degenerate freak. Would you do another stream about the propaganda of the 90s, like talk shows that were meant to push anti-white narratives? Yes, and I would even love to do the 90s talk shows that pushed anti-Catholic narratives as well. I think we should do both anti-white and both anti-Catholic, because that time was very interesting in media, and I think it gave sort of a lot of the attitudes that we've internalized as Americans against the church and against white people. So I think that'd be really a really good topic to cover. Get a JFK fade, bro. That'd be good. I'd be like Clone High. I'd be like, "Hey, baby, you want to go back to my place?" I don't know. That's probably a pretty bad JFK impression. I saw you from across the hall. I think you're pretty bad. That's probably not a great impression, but that's okay. If you look up Vatican chronovisor, you def should. Okay, I'll look that up later. It's probably not true, whatever it is. It's probably some like, look at how the St. Paul VI hall looks. It looks like a giant snake or something. That's the way it comes off, but I'll definitely look it up and try to engage with it. Alex Poe's doing a bunch of trad slop content. Oh, brother. Oh, yeah, I think I know who he is. As a Coloradan, what do we think of South Park? I think South Park is funny when it's not blasphemous. When it's not blasphemous, it's super funny. I really like South Park, but it's had some episodes that have definitely been disgusting and no one should ever watch again, right? But no, I mean the non-blasphemous, I don't tend to moral fag about shows unless it's blasphemy. That's where that's where it crosses the fucking line, and I'm not down with that shit ever. But if it's just being funny or silly, like Family Guy at certain points or whatever, I think it's totally fine to watch. I get a kick out of watching shows like that. when it's not a blasphemous episode or anything like that. Do you speak Latin? If so, how well can you speak it? I've been learning Latin for a few months now, and it is a massive undertaking, but I love the language so much. Much love. Well, thank you, uh, Memento Staken. I can speak a little bit of Latin. I haven't prayed in Latin in a very long time, so I'm trying to remember exactly. But uh, like the Ave Maria, like Ave Maria, gratia plena, Dominus tecum, benedicta tu mulieribus, benedictus fructus ventris tui, Jesus, Sancta Maria Mater Dei, ora pro nobis peccatoribus, nunc et in hora uh, mortis nostrae. Amen. Probably butchered the end. I need to revive, but I can definitely like read Latin and pronounce it pretty well. Long hair pine sap when, dude, this hair is so thick that when it gets to be long, my head just cannot breathe. Like I feel like I'm just doused in sweat. I'm like dripping. I'm literally like that fat black guy from Gangsta's Paradise where he's like, been spending most their lives living in a gangster's paradise. And he's just like dripping buckets of sweat. That's how I am when I have long hair, man. Um, you're spot on with the impression for a little bit. Yeah, thank you. I was actually trying to say it fast so I didn't forget, but yeah, um I need to get back on Latin lessons. I looked it up and the chronovisor is just a conspiracy theory that the Vatican has a time machine. Oh yeah, I don't believe that for an instant. Time travel isn't even real. The SDA anti-Catholic schizo conspiracies are an infinite content glitch. So true. The Jesuit oath. Are we taking the Jesuit oath right now? Are we taking the Jesuit oath? I will destroy anyone who opposes the Vatican. Dude, I love the Jesuit oath isn't even real and it's badass and awesome. I love the Jesuit oath. It's like I will destroy anyone who opposes Catholicism. So true, dude. South Park has been co-opted by shipper fandom girlies. Yeah, and the recent episodes are way too episodic. Like I liked when the older episodes were just one-offs. I think that's how most of those shows should be. I don't mind a certain episodic element. Like for instance, I think Regular Show in its final season did that very well where in the space season they had the episodes individual enough that you could watch them on their own and know what was going on, but it was also episodic enough that you knew was kind of a part of this like grander story that they were trying to tell. And so I think Regular Show did kind of the episodic but still one-off dynamic very well for an animated show, but I think South Park has just butchered that in the recent seasons. Like the whole Tegrity Farms thing, I don't find it to really be that funny or engaging. I think the scandals broke at those times, which didn't help with the anti-Catholic sentiment. Very true. Yeah. Oprah destroyed an entire generation. I mean, she was on that shit so much with the whole pedophile priest thing and stuff like that. She really, that woman needs to repent because she's going to hell between the whole pedophile stuff she's probably involved in, the whole spirit cooking thing and the Epstein stuff and the anti-Catholic sentiment that she brewed in this country. She is on a one-way ticket to hell if she does not repent. And I really hope she does. Mullet Pine Sap. Heck yeah. You're nailing the ecclesiastical accent, W. Thank you. Thank you, buddy. Hated the episode of South Park that parodied the oh yeah, that one art piece where the guy peed in the jar. Ugh, that's disgusting. Even as an atheist, that made me super uncomfortable. That was your intuitive love of God, man. That was just God working on your heart. Laffy's here. I love Laffy, dude. Laffy is so funny. W. Latin Sap. Thoughts on Carl Jung? I think Carl Jung has some very wise and beautiful things to say, but I think with anyone who's not Catholic, we can get sometimes a little too wrapped up in their words to such an extent that it might lead us a false way. So I think as long as we look at Jung through a Catholic lens, he has a lot of beautiful and profound things to say, but we just shouldn't get wrapped up in those things that he believed that weren't beautiful or true, if that makes sense. But I think he has a lot of profound reflections that, like, if you don't read them, you're really missing out. So overall, W. Young, I think he's overall very good, but just don't get wrapped up in the stuff that kind of gets in those weird areas. Is there any merit in praying in Latin if I don't understand it? sometimes at all, as well as English. I mean, your prayer isn't more efficacious if you pray in Latin, but I think it's just a very beautiful language, and I think it's the church's patrimony, sort of the universal language. So I think that's the merit in praying in Latin is it's the language of the church, but it doesn't make your prayer like more efficacious. It's not some like magical spell that you cast or some like shout from Skyrim just because you pray in Latin. South Park is like Nirvana. It's good when it's not explicitly gay or anti Christ. You would be shocked if you didn't know any better. Yeah, dude, that's real. Kurt Cobain was, dude. Honestly, if Kurt Cobain was alive today, he probably would be trans. Let's be for real. That guy was fucked up. I mean, he like Nirvana played pro-abortion shows and like celebrated the like Seattle, I think it was like the Seattle like Young Republicans club building being burned down because they opposed abortion. And they like made out on the band members like made out on SNL. They were a bunch of homos. Honestly, W Axl Rose for like calling out Nirvana. I used to make fun of Axl for that back in the day when I was like really into grunge when I was in high school. But Axl Rose is so right. Those guys were a bunch of weird homos, bunch of weird drug addicted homos. Although I still like the music of Nirvana, I'll still listen to them. But yeah, they definitely were off their rocker with their political views. I remember, I think it was In Utero. The liner note says, "If you're a sexist, homophobic, racist, redneck, don't listen to our music." And it's like, guess what, bitch? I'm gonna listen to that fucking music anyhow. You're not gonna get me to not listen to your music. What's Kurt Cobain gonna do? Come back? He's gonna come back and he's gonna punish me. Sorry, I can't hear you over the shotgun, buddy. Sorry, that was messed up. I don't want anyone to die, but it's like, who would win, Kurt Cobain or a 12 gauge? I think we all know how that ended. My hair becomes long, it becomes curly. I have to wash it every day just to comb it and make it look nice. So real. We are all taking the Jesuit oath, dude. We are all taking it. I know it's been taken up by more LARPy people, but I wish Catholic economics was discussed more by us groypers. McChicken, you can be the one to start it, bro. I'll forward and retweet those posts. Get us going, man. Get us going. We need to know that. Shout out to the Vatican supercomputer. So real. That actually logs all the non-Catholics on it, so we know to hunt them down to forcefully convert them. That's how we get people, dude. It's got a database of every Protestant on it, so we can just forcefully convert them. No, I'm playing. We don't want to do that. We want people to come into the truth through freely assenting to it. I'm Argentinian. We swear the Jesuit oath right after our first words. So true. I love you too, Laffy. Thank you so much for watching, bro. I really always appreciate seeing you in chat. Laffy is just like a super silly and positive guy. It's hard not to smile when you're around him. He just posts some of the most like silly and funny things in the entire world and just always has a way of making you smile. Yo, Pine Sap, what do we think of Saint Therese of Lisieux? Have you read Story of His Soul, Her Poems, Her Prayers? Sorry, I'm gonna go through these quick because I do need to get going, but she's amazing. I love her. For a while, I think as like a guy, I was like, oh, she's an amazing saint. Of course, goes without saying, but like maybe she's more a saint for girls. And then I literally read a quote from her where she's like, I wish I could die in a holy war against heretics. And I was like, I love this girl so much. She's got that French soul that just like cries out in all of us. Literally, this is a racial thing, I unironically believe. I think if you're French, you do have this like kind of crusader soul. You know what I mean? You've just got this like soul where it's like, I want to literally go fight and die in a holy war for the church. You're like, I can't explain it. I don't know why, but it's like, I want to go like fight and die in a holy war just to like defend the church. It's just something that like is kind of intuitive to our blood. It's like how the Spanish like have a very like emotive way of expressing the faith, or the English are very rational as well and explaining the faith in a very beautiful way. That's why they're English people are really good at apologetics. I'm also English too, so I got that more rational St. John Henry Newman side of me. But yeah, French people, it's like we're ready to wage war for God. That's our soul. Oprah and John of God cult stuff was crazy. She featured and was friends with that guy, and he was giving pregnant women lobotomies and selling their kids and got caught. That is so fucked up, dude. She is an evil witch, honestly. Saw my wife lag IRL. What the heck? Let's see. Ignoring super chats during your rant, shaking my head, friend. I'm sorry, dude. When you're in it, you just gotta go off. I can't explain it. Like, I'm a chud, okay? I am the chuddiest chud that ever chudded, and when you're chudding out, you just gotta go into it full force. The liner notes in your read like your typical DNI Twitter pin tweet. So true. Glad to make you smile, brother. Hey man, you do a great job of it. Kurt Cobain be like, I only do heroin because I have stomach problems. Yeah, real. McChicken Thomas, did you take the oath? I did. To destroy heretics and their governments and rulers, and spare neither age, sex, nor condition, to be as a corpse without any opinion or will of my own. That goes hard as fuck, bro. Like, that goes so hard. Are you kidding me? Like, you don't hear that and think, like, I want to just conquer the world for God. Like, I know it's supposed to be anti-Catholic, and yet it's like the coolest fucking thing in the world. That's the other thing too. This is a quick rant that I'll go on. There are a ton of academic books that are like written against the faith by like David Kurtzer or whatever, and it's like history of Catholic anti-Semitism, or like history of how Catholics collabed with far-right dictators. They collabed with far-right dictators and they were evil, right? And I'm like, way to post our fucking W's, right? Like, I unironically just buy books like that because it literally is like it's a book full of our wins. Like, it's literally like a book full of our wins, and I'm like, wow, way to make me just like fall in love with being Catholic even more. Like, everyone's expecting to read this book and be like, oh dear heavens, well, I don't want to be Catholic anymore. I want to be a democratic chud or whatever. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, this is amazing, dude. Like, we did this. This is what we did. Like, we stand on the shoulders of giants, honestly. I'm super inspired by those books. Like, people are trying to like get you to not be Catholic by reading them, and I'm like, dude, I now want to become a monk. Like, that's how Catholic this book made me. Pine Sap, what is your racialist religious view on the Scottish? I would say probably the Scottish have that warrior spirit as well. they I think they've got that really like kind of clan, like very much about family and people and soil and blood, kind of like clannish warrior spirit for God too. That kind of just they know how to like build a home for God. They know how to build like a tribe or a clan for God. You know what I mean? If I was to take kind of a shooting from the hip approach, that's what I would say about the Scottish. Like, just that like kind of like berserker spirit that you can't really find anywhere else. That willing to like charge in the battle and be brave spirit. I agree, and it's like how Irish people have this inherent humility and contemplative nature. Irish Catholic guilt is real. That's real, dude. That is real. That's very intuitive to the Irish soul. The Catholic Church supported the Confederacy. Sounds wonderful. Real. True, even. Same with Saint Jose Maria Escriva. Like, yeah, people are like, he spied on his followers and he supported Franco. And I'm like, I'm just going to venerate him even harder. In fact, just after he said that, bought 20 icons of him. They're all going up on my walls. Every single square inch of my wall will be covered with Saint Jose Maria images now. What's your opinion on the Irish? I have 25% Irish blood. I'm Irish too. I love the Irish. I mean, hey, the Irish literally did save civilization. Irish monks did. So I think the Irish are indispensable to the European spirit. And I think you see that even with our people now. I mean, they're one of the only groups of white people that put up a real resistance to migration. And I think they're going to be one of the keys that unlocks our descent from this current world order we're trying to fight against, and this current anti-white kind of political establishment we're trying to go against, because they've got some fucking balls, man. Like, they don't fuck around. Like, if they want to like if they want to like overthrow the chains that bind, they're willing to do it. And I really respect the hell out of them for that. Not to mention that the Scots are also largely the descendants of Vikings. So true, dude. So true. Okay, Pine Sap, seeing the prelate of Opus Dei tomorrow. What should I ask him? Um, Maybe like ask him what's your favorite thing about Saint Jose Maria's life. I think that'd be a really good question, actually. What's your favorite thing about Saint Jose Maria's life? Like, what's a lesson or something that he taught that like really stuck with you? I think that'd be a very beautiful way to kind of encounter him and stuff like that. But anyhow, gang, it is 11:25 here. I do got to wrap up and have dinner and stuff like that. I know I'm a late guy, late sap, late night owl. So I got to get going. But I love you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I think this was a really, really, really good stream. Per usual, I couldn't have done it without you guys. You guys are amazing. And I will make sure to deliver. Probably not this weekend. I'm going to be pretty busy this weekend. But let's see. Let me see about Tuesday. I think Tuesday we can get a stream going. And I'll try to make it more focused. Maybe I'll finally do that stream on the movie about Buddha I was meaning to cover. I don't know if it'll be on YouTube because that might be copyrighted, although the movie's on YouTube, so I'm not clear on the rules there. So maybe I'll stream it on Rumble, Kick, and X, but we'll cover that and it'll be a good time. So I'll